Right, let's have a look at Matic then. So sorry I've not been able to make a video for a couple of days. Basically once a month or so I volunteer to work with kids with special needs and stuff, and it usually takes me a full weekend, you know, so that's where I've been. But now I'm back on Matic. So we're you know, it must have been good karma, you know, me doing my good deeds or whatever. But as soon as I step into that environment, Matic starts launching itself. Enormous gains, and yeah, I mean, this has come off the back of their multiple announcements that they made, I'm sure. And Link, oh my god, Link went crazy. I mean, I was working and I took one quick look at the chart, and I mean, it was up at 80% at one point within a 24-hour period. So yeah, Chainlink really missed a trick there, but you know, that's you know, that's another thing altogether. So let's have a little look at where we are and what's likely to happen now then. So we're on the Satoshi value here, the Bitcoin and Matic pairing, and we had this descending sort of trend line that we needed to break, and my sort of expectation was that it had to break anywhere between my last video, which was a few days ago, and the 8th, which would have brought it to around here. And the only reason I came up with that is because it had to have ended. We would have known by that point, because it would have had to break out of this trend by then. It couldn't go any further. It would have to go down or up. It had no other range to go. Anyway, it broke up. So now we've broken that trend. We have to now begin to make another trend. So it's a little early now to decide where this trend's going. We're nicely above all the moving averages, apart from the 200 EMA, which is a very important one. If we break above that, I mean, what we're looking at now, the EMA is leveling out, which is great. What we need this to now to do, and unless there's some horrendous price crash with Matic now, it's going to poke up and start to curve up, which will create its own trend. When we break above that and that becomes a support, we need to then break above this support here. This is the 230 Satoshi support level. Once that breaks, and breaks significantly, we want that to become a support, as we saw here on its downtrend before. Okay, so this has been a decent Satoshi support level for for quite a while. So this one hopefully will then turn to support, and then we can then again start to try and build upon our previous, most recent highest point here. Not this one here, not this huge parabolic top. We need to try and make our way up to above here, and this would be a 350 Satoshi level. That is our all-time, that is our main target that we need to try and get to. That would be a big achievement for us to get back up there again, especially because Bitcoin is a lot more expensive than it was when this happened. So it's a bigger milestone now than it was back then. On another note, we'll look at the Bitcoin chart now. So here we are, Bitcoin 4 hourly, and I don't know what you guys feel about this, but I'm thinking that I still think we've got a little further to go. We're bouncing on the bottom of the Bollinger Band here. Okay, so that's one thing. One of the hourly charts. Let's go to the daily chart to start with. So on the daily chart here, I mean, we're still pretty high when it comes to the daily chart, but it is looking like it wants to come down again to test these lower support levels around 10,800, but I think we're heading back down towards 10,000 before we see another bounce. What we're looking really to do is, if we can break beneath this wick here, so this is 10,500, that was a decent bounce we had there. If we test that area again, we'll probably bounce unless it's a huge flash crash. If we break beneath that, that's what I would consider to be significant. Probably come back down to here around a 10,000 for another bounce. But realistically, if we break this area here where this last wick was created around 10,500, a lot of it's basically like a liquidation area. People who have bought in here probably a bit highly leveraged. Bit too highly leveraged, and to be honest with you, you've probably got a lot of people around here that are also quite highly leveraged. are probably going to chicken out at that point and sell. The bears will get hold and the bears will push it down, and I reckon we'll bounce on the 10,000, but probably break. I wouldn't be surprised if when this breaks we see a larger wick, probably come down to around 9,500 or maybe a lower, and then the bounce would be created around there. But over the next week, I do expect it to come back down. Okay, so we've got a whole week to go of price action now. So the weekend didn't do Bitcoin any favours, despite all the armchair traders. Oh dear, what's happened here? Get back in there, you. Right, so let's get back to Matic. So we're on the dollar pairing here, so the tether pairing. So yeah, it looks great again, looks very good. So where are our supports here? So this is our lowest support. Hopefully won't be coming down there again anytime soon. But anything is possible. It is Matic after all. This hype move is generally hype. There was a nice bit of volume came flooding into to Matic after those announcements. What we really need to do now is follow through with this move. As we did break the trend, we need to create a new trend. We're resting upon this area here, which was it was a resistance and might turn to a support, but it does look like it's a bit of a battle to do that. That's the 2.37 cents. So we need to find a way above here and remain above here. This is the 4-hourly chart now we're on. If this area can be broken and turn to support, then it becomes the ultimate battle at that point to break above the this area. This is a 2.750 area. That will be a big deal if we can break above there, because as you can see here, we did try the first time, we were rejected. Tried the second time, we didn't quite touch it, and we were rejected significantly, which created a lot of this downtrend here. So this area here is very important. Okay, this area needs to turn to support. We'll call it 23.50, 2.35 cent. Okay, that has to become a support now, and then at that point we need to break above this area, which is the 2.75 cent. When that breaks, we could be in for a real treat. That would bring us up to our next support level, which is about 3.1 cent. Our next resistance level, 3.1 cent. That would be great if we can start to touch there. I wouldn't expect that to break straight away. If we can start sort of nudging towards there, that would be great. But that in my book is a little bit in the future. This area now is our battleground, and if we look again on the Satoshi, I did say in my previous videos we need to stay above 190 Satoshis, and currently we are staying above those. We're pretty much above all those moving averages, almost about to break above this 200 EMA, and if we can break above there, then our next level would be this resistance. Once that support, we should be good to go. Over the next few days, and definitely over the next week, we can see how this trend unfolds. If it's a trend that's worth mapping, then we'll certainly try and get a handle on it. If this trend breaks down because this was nothing more than a move led by hype, we'll probably start to see a downside again. So we're going to have to wait it out. I'm afraid we're going to have to wait to see how this all plays out. But the good news is Matic's alpha mainnet is operational, so they can start to build upon that themselves now. Their token is now in use case, and that's really what Matic need to be doing. Despite all the other news about exchanges being added for Matic, which is always good, everybody's waiting for Coinbase, thinking that Coinbase is going to really help it. I mean, it will help it, given the fact that Binance won't be accepting US customers anymore. I mean, that's a bit of a drawback. So if there's more opportunity for people to buy Matic, that's great. And generally, for anyone to buy Matic, it's great. But the most important thing in my book for Matic to do is to basically be adopted by more dApps. The more dApps, the better, because it means the more Matic tokens are being used. We need those tokens to be used for its real purpose, which is not so much to make us money, but to actually facilitate faster payments, for DApps. I mean, let's face it, they're a business. They've got a business model. Their business model at no point states that it's there to get us rich. Okay, we're doing that. We're trying to do that on the back of, their business model. So let's get real about it. Let's support them in their endeavours, and focus on that rather than things like Coinbase. Anyway, I will leave it with you there. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate the subscribers. I appreciate their comments, and I hope you come back for more. Trying to make these videos daily. I hope you have a nice evening, and take it easy.